Hey there, I'm Sanjay and in this video I'm going to design new Convergent form Pokemon. Game Freak liked giving attention to old Pokemon in their new games. This started by adding new evolution, then they gave us a new gimmick in Gen 6 being Mega Evolutions, giving us a new way to give new forms to old Pokemon. Then we got regional forms in Gen 7, one of the best iteration of this concept, Gigantamax form in Gen 8, and in Gen 10, we got two new ways for old Pokemon to get new forms, being Paradox Pokemon and Convergent form. Convergent Pokemon is very similar to regional forms, but even more clever and is based on a real-world phenomenon. My guess is that Game Freak originally wanted to design regional forms in which the entire species got changed, but it wouldn't make much sense. So they introduced Convergent form Pokemon. I think designing Convergent form Pokemon is more difficult than designing regional forms. A good pair of Convergent Pokemon should be based on completely different things but have something in common, like the mode of living or even the shape, as seen in Wiglet and Toadstool. So in this video, I'm going to design two brand new Convergent Pokemon lines, so without further ado, let's get started. First Pokemon I'm going to design is the Convergent form of Geodude. The Geodude line has already got regional variants, so it's unlikely for them to get a new form anytime soon in the future. Is what you would think, but no. Diglett got a Convergent form even with the Alolan variant, and Meowth has two regional variants. Probably because, Gen 1. This Pokemon is based on crystal balls used by fortune tellers. Two spherical things being a spherical rock and a crystal ball is a good base idea for a Convergent Pokemon. I wanted to show that this Pokemon is a crystal ball that gains sentience. After it gains sentience, the psychic fumes inside the crystal ball burst out in the form of hands. As Pokemon has the Psychic type, a Crystal Ball item-based Pokemon is perfect for this universe. I guess Spoink might also be part based on a Crystal Ball, especially with its Psychic type. But I think we need a proper Crystal Ball Pokemon. I made it look mischievous. It has two differently colored eyes. I added yellow to the eyes to bring in some pop of color. This Pokemon evolves into the Convergent form of Graveler. I gave it a more calm character. Two more arms burst out of the crystal ball, making it crack even more and letting out more psychic mist fumes. I love how this Pokemon turned out. This Pokemon doesn't have legs even though Graveler has, which reminds me of the Pokemon Adventures manga in which Graveler doesn't have legs either, for at least the first few chapters. This Pokemon line can project visions inside the crystal ball. And like many Psychic type Pokemon, it can predict the future. The mist from this Pokemon can produce illusions, and I'm happy with how Graveler having multiple hands has translated into this Pokemon design very well. It's gorgeous to look at, the colors were great, I overall love it. And of course the final stage will be the Convergent form of Golem. Golem is definitely the most interesting and also a little bit weird Pokemon in this entire line. So you are a rock blob with hands that then evolves into a bigger blob with more hands and a pair of legs. So far makes sense. And then you need to trade for it to evolve, and now it's still a rock creature, but now it has like a lizard-like face and limbs. Like, what? What happened here? So I turned the psychic mist of my Convergent form Pokemon into the lizard creature bursting out of the crystal ball. This looks great. The fumes turning into the lizard was fun to design as well. The next Pokemon line is going to be based on platypuses. I had an idea. I don't know if anyone else have done this before. They probably might have, since it is a pretty obvious idea, and which is to make a Convergent form of a Pokemon evolve into another Convergent form of a different Pokemon, if that makes any sense. The first stage is the Convergent form of Psyduck. Psyduck is an iconic Gen 1 Pokemon, and I definitely know that Psyduck is going to get something in the future. Pokemon is slowly checking the boxes of all Gen 1 Pokemon by giving them some kind of attention in the modern games. And there are only a few Pokemon left from the version 151 that haven't gotten anything new, and Psyduck is one of them. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Psyduck got a new form in the next generation, or even in Legend ZA. This Pokemon line is Water Poison type. I gave it the platypus tail and also a purple color scheme, along with blue colored features and black accents near the eyes. We need a platypus Pokemon and a new Psyduck form, so this idea is perfect. It evolved into the convergent form of Ludicolo. Designing this Pokemon line was quite difficult for me. Making a Pokemon line based on 3 different Pokemon was not that easy. I chose Ludicolo because it has a beak and it made sense to use this Pokemon for the middle stage. Instead of the hat, it gets water flow like hairstyle, which can be also seen in its pre-evolution. I also changed the carefree expression of Ludicolo into a more serious one. I gave it the platypus tail and poison dripping from its hands and tail. The black accent around its eyes has turned into a mask. And that's basically it, a convergent Ludicolo Pokemon based on a platypus. I like it. My favorite part about this design is the change in expression from a carefree looking Ludicolo to a more serious looking Pokemon. For the final evolution, I used another weird looking Pokemon that has a beak, Magmar. Why does it have a beak? No idea, but this Pokemon would be perfect for the already weird looking platypus Pokemon line. I gave it the platypus tail, replaced the fiery features with poison type features as well, and also changed the beak that Magmar has to a more platypus like beak. I also gave it the hand cannon that Magmortar has, which by the way is super cool that Magmortar has those, but this Pokemon will shoot toxic gunk from its arm like a Galarian Slowbro. I also gave it poisonous spikes behind its legs just like real platypuses. So this Pokemon has the ability Poison Point. Overall, I love the concept of this Pokemon and I'm pretty happy with the execution as well. A convergent form Psyduck evolving into a convergent form Ludicolo and then Magmar is an interesting idea. All these Pokemon are connected by similar features but are all distinct Pokemon at the same time, and that is what convergent Pokemon are for the most part. Thank you for watching, see you guys in the next video.